Hi, I'm Darren Walker. Tonight on Inside Louisiana Athletics, head football strength and conditioning coach Mark Hockey is here to recap the Sun Belt Conference Championship game in Boone, and we discuss the Lending Tree Bowl, brought to you by Sonic. Men's and women's basketball returns home after road trips. Bob Marlin talks Arizona State, and Gary Broadhead revisits North Texas. Also, you'll hear from Kobe Julian, who was named Student Athlete of the Month, and Gwen Mummert, a second-team All-Southeast Region selection by United Soccer Coaches. You're watching Inside Louisiana Athletics. Hello and welcome to Inside Louisiana Athletics. The Ragin Cajuns' comeback bid falls short in the Sun Belt Conference Championship game, 45-38, as they fall to Appalachian State. Now it is on to Mobile and the Lending Tree Bowl, where they will face the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. Here now, filling in for Coach Napier as he is on the road recruiting with the rest of his staff, is head strength and conditioning coach Mark Hockey. So let's go back to Saturday. A lot of early mistakes put us in a deep 21-0 hole. The guys showed a lot of fight, after that, but that was just a little bit too much to overcome.
Yeah, Darren, thanks for having me today.
Sure.
Really excited about the opportunity. Yeah, you reflect back on the game Saturday, and you can't be happy with how things started, but really pleased with how the athletes responded, and even the coaching staff responded. I think adjustments were made, and it was almost a tale of two games if you separate the first quarter and the rest of the game, and really separate the first half and the second half. So really pleased with how the athletes responded in a really adverse situation.
And that's not the first time that's happened this year. Talk about the response. That's something that Coach Napier has talked about quite a bit this year, is how when adversity does hit this team, even the Mississippi State game or the first App State game, they have a tendency to respond the right way.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big challenges you're going to face really in life, but also in competition, is not everything's not going to always go as planned, how you planned it out in your mind. Certainly in competition, in a championship level game, you're facing a worthy opponent, so things aren't going to always go as planned. And as an athlete, as a competitor, you got to be prepared for sometimes the worst case scenario, and that's kind of what we faced after what happened unfolded in the first quarter, and really happy with how everybody responded.
We had our football banquet this past Sunday night, and when you were at the podium, you mentioned how, the 10-win season, and how that's the first time that it ever happened here at Louisiana, and how monumental it is when you can get up there and say things like that. It's the first time in program history that this has ever been done. We don't get to really sit back and look at accomplishments on a daily basis because we're grinding every day. But the defensive turnaround this year, how good they were, one of the most prolific offenses in the country this season. Now that you've had time to step back and look at 2019, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I think that makes a great point. There was so much time and effort put into getting to that pinnacle, getting to that championship game, to when the championship game didn't go as we all had hoped. It's really, you're mourning a loss, and it's tough it's a tough pill to swallow, and it's tough to get that loss off your mind. But as I started to reflect and think about what I wanted to say in the banquet, in our team banquet, which is really a celebration, I had to kind of step back from just that single game and that single loss and how bad that felt, how bad that hurt, and really remind myself of the appreciation I had for the staff I work with, the players I work for and serve, and what we have been able to accomplish into this point. And I was having a conversation with Jay Walker, and I wanted him to remind me of what we had accomplished as far as 10 wins being the first time in program history. I didn't know if that was including bowl games just in the regular season and whatnot. And he kind of explained and reaffirmed that, no, this is the first time this indeed did happen. And I mean, if you give that some thought, that's pretty special. And that was the point I was making is, sometimes things aren't going to go exactly as you hoped or planned, specifically the championship game. But if you're able to look at the big picture, I think it's a beautiful one, and what we were able to accomplish up until this point. And obviously there's still a bowl game ahead of us, but just looking at it, out of the games we played, 13 games, to win 10 games, and like we just mentioned, the first time in program history, you're setting a new standard, you're setting a new bar for the teams in the future to try and meet and raise that bar, raise that standard. So really appreciate the hard work and effort of everybody involved. And I think, after the season's truly over, once we go and compete in this bowl game, we're going to be able to look back at the body of work and be pleased with the effort.
On to the bowl game now. As I said earlier, we're facing the Miami of Ohio Redhawks, MAC champions. Don't know much about them because we haven't looked at them on film a whole lot, but you do know this. They come from the MAC, and that is a physical brand of football. So our guys are going to have to be ready to pound it on the inside.
There's no doubt. I mean, so the fact that's what excites me about this game is you get an opportunity to play against a conference champion. Mm-hmm. We clearly fell short within our conference, but to get an opportunity to play against another conference's champion, I think that's enough motivation right there in itself. And like you mentioned, that MAC conference is known for toughness, known for grit, known for physicality, which happens to be some of the very things that we pride ourselves on here at Louisiana. So I'm excited it's a great measuring stick or measuring tool for us to go throw it in the ring with these guys who are conference champions, proven to be the best in their conference. Well, let's see where we measure up against some of these other conferences. And I think it's a great opportunity and really excited to start preparing for it. And then obviously when it's time to go compete for a bowl championship.
All right, thanks for the time, Coach. That game is on January 6th on national television, ESPN. Next on Inside Louisiana Athletics, Bob Marlin recaps Southeastern and Arizona State and previews an upcoming matchup with Louisiana Tech.
To perform, you need speed, skill, strength. With every muscle, every move, you push your body to reach its full potential. But sometimes you just can't push through the pain. That's when you know it's time to address it. So when injury puts you on the sidelines, trust us to get you back in the game. Lourdes Sports Care, the team behind your team.
If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, then your feet will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, Manger. If you're happy and you know it, Manger. If you're happy and you know it, nothing God will help you show it. If you're happy and you know it, Manger.
Welcome back to Inside Louisiana Athletics. 1/3 of the men's basketball schedule is in the books. The Ragin Cajuns are 4-0 at home in the friendly confines of the Cajun Dome. And here now to talk about that and other things basketball is the men's head coach, Bob Marlin. And you come off of a kind of an extended road trip to come back home to play Southeastern. The Lions took advantage of some early mistakes by you guys. They opened up quite a lead, 14 points to be exact, but your guys responded in a big way with a 15-0 run, and you wind up taking a 1-point lead at the half.
And that was big for us. We needed to come back and play well. Southeastern's got a good group. The last 2 years that we played them, since the third year in the contract, 2 games at home, that they've had a double-digit lead in the first half, so we've had to fight our way back. We always get their best shot, but the guys did a great job of recapturing the lead at the half, and then the second half they never had the lead. And then their previous 3 road games at Vanderbilt, Austin Peay, and Tulsa, they had the lead in the second half. So our guys finished the game the way it needed to be finished.
Talk about responding to being down like that, being able to flush everything and really turn things around in a hurry.
Well, it's important. We hit some shots, and I think we had a 15-0 run to get that done. And then we carried the momentum out to start the second half, and our defense was a lot better in the second half.
Speaking of the second half, you shot 59% from the field, 44% from three-point range. Jalen Johnson with a double-double. He had 15 of his 26 points in the second half, and ultimately you wind up winning this game 98-81 going away.
Yeah, it was a good second half for us. We were able to score, got the ball in transition some, got up and down the court. They pressed us, and we also got the free throw line and converted our free throws.
Gotcha. Back on the road to Arizona State this past weekend. First half turnovers, kind of 13 to be exact in the first half, and the Sun Devils wound up taking a 12-point lead. Just too many mistakes early on.
Well, they pressed us full court, and were very aggressive. For instance, Trajan Wesley was at the point for us. In the previous games, he had 20 assists and 4 turnovers. And at the first media timeout, 4 minutes in the game, he had 4 turnovers. So they were aggressive. They pushed us around. They pressed us the entire game. And our goal was to keep the score down against these guys, control the tempo. And we did that. They'd had 92 and 97 points in their 2 previous home games. And we held them down to 77 points, which gave us a chance to win the basketball game. But the first half, they were aggressive, yet they got 16 free throws at the half, and we had 2. And they had a 12-point lead because of it.
In the second half, though, you cut the turnovers in half, and you played them even, 39 points apiece. But in the end, they wound up winning that one by a score of 77-65.
Did a good job battling in the second half. Had a chance to pitch it in at one time. We're down 19, and 3 starters, Duguay, Jalen Johnson, and Trajan Wesley had 4 fouls at the 17-minute mark of the second half. We continued to compete. We got it to 10 with 3.5 to go, and I had the ball twice to cut it to single digits and could have really made it interesting down the stretch. But thought our team got better. We played without Kobe Julian, who's one of our better players, who had a soreness in his knee that we're getting checked out. And but the guys that played well.
Louisiana Tech this Saturday, 4 o'clock in Ruston. The Bulldogs are 6-2. They're shooting 46% as a team, but statistically, when you look at their scoring, there really aren't any standouts. It's a lot of guys with 12, 11, 10, 9, 9, really getting balanced scoring.
And that's the key word, is balance. They've got a balanced attack. They're guard heavy. Their guards carry their team, and same as they did last year. And they're off to a good start. They won at Mississippi State this year, and could have won the game at Creighton. They played really good basketball at times, and the guards have been balanced each night. You don't know who it's going to come from.
They've only played 8 games so far this year, but I want to talk about their defense because they're only giving up 62 points a game.
They've been good defensively, and again, the guard play. They've got some athletic guys. They've got 1 or 2 guys that can rebound the ball and really help them for defensive rebounding to finish the possession and go the other way with it. So off to a good start on both sides of basketball.
Conference play, believe it or not, is only it's not that far away already. And you played some quality teams. So how has playing those teams like Arizona State, how's that getting your club ready for the conference schedule?
Would certainly help playing a good schedule. TCU, Arizona State, Irvine, and Detroit Mercy has only helped us, and by being on the road some should help us as we open up at Arkansas State next week. And like you mentioned, we got exams this week. We're going to continue to work and get better and put in a couple of new wrinkles for our game in Jonesboro, because that's when the season really starts.
Talk about Kobe Julian. He's the athletics department student athlete of the month.
Great young man. He works really hard at his studies. He works really hard on the basketball court. Just a great person from a great family, and wants to max out and be as good as he can be.
All right, thanks a lot for the time, Coach. Coming up next, we will see Kobe Julian from the men's basketball team and soccer's Gwen Mummert as they talk about their recent honors.
Let's go boom. Let's go boom.
Hey y'all, get your softball season tickets today. Head coach Jerry Glasgow and his crew are back after a 52-6 season last year. We have our season opener February 7th versus Ball State, and exciting games all year round, including the one versus LSU right here in Lamson Park on February 15th. You don't want to miss this, so get your season tickets today at ragincajuns.com/SBTix. We can't wait to see you there. Go Cajuns!
Hey, I'm Kobe Julian. I'm a redshirt freshman basketball player for your Louisiana Ragin Cajuns. Well, I started playing basketball when I was young. It was just something that always was entertaining to me. I always looked up to my father. He played basketball for years, and he played here for the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns. I knew I was pretty good in basketball. I found that out in 6th grade when I was playing at PE, and the coach came take me from the court outside and asked me to be on the basketball team. So from that moment on, I was pretty confident in my game. In high school, academics was always a major focus. Math was always my favorite subject because it challenges the brain, and I like to overthink things. So me and math always had a good thing going. On the court, as a senior, I averaged 24 points and 10 rebounds, and I was a part of a 4 state championship winning team. Academics is so important to me because it's always there. Basketball won't always be there for me, but academics will always lead me to the next step in life. I decided to become a Ragin Cajun because it felt like the right thing to do. I just knew it when I came on my visit. It just felt like this is the place, this is where I'm gonna go, and there's gonna be good things happening. I'm very excited to know that I've won Student Athlete of the Month, and I plan on winning many more. Go Cajuns.
I'm Gwen Mummert from Berlin, Germany, and I'm a sophomore defender for your Louisiana Ragin Cajuns. Having Lance Key as our new coach was very exciting from the beginning. He came into our program with a vision to change the direction of the program. He really wants us to do a lot better and become a culture of champions. That's the vision we came up with as a team for ourselves. To have something to work towards. And it was so far it was a really hard transition as well because it's uncomfortable to change your daily habits and to work really hard on things that you need to change. And with him on our side though, and all the other people that are part of our coaching staff, it was a lot better to go through that transition. Playing so many minutes for our team is just a huge honor for me to be able to be on the team and be one of the leaders on the field, directing the game, and just really getting to be a part of almost every experience that we went through as a team this whole season, and being on the field with my teammates. That's just amazing. Going to the Sun Belt Conference tournament for the first time was a really great experience. To get there and to be a part of all the good teams in the conference was just a nice feeling to have, and being able to compete and not just go there and be happy to participate, but really going in to get something out of it and to win a game, which we did for the first time in school history, which was probably one of my favorite memories of the whole season. When I scored that PK, it was like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders, because all season I've have taken the PKs and always went to the low bottom corner, and I had to take a PK against the exact same goalie a week ago, and so she knew which way I was going, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to switch it up, and that it worked, and everything worked out fine. We won 3-0. That was just amazing. I feel incredibly honored to receive those awards and to be recognized like that. I really appreciate it a lot. But on the other hand, it's a whole team effort. I would have never gotten all that without our team working so hard like we did, and not even only this season, but really if you look at the history of the program, it was never super successful. And now with us working so hard and with the new coaching staff coming in, everyone just trying to turn things around, it's super exciting that the hard work we did so far even pays off right now, and to be one of the recipients for those awards, that's just, I'm really grateful for that. Our goals for the next season are definitely to, go to the conference tournament again and win the conference tournament. That would be amazing. That's definitely something we're working towards. And then participating in the NCAA tournament and see how things go from there. But definitely grow together as a team again. We have a lot of new players coming in, and a new staff member coming in as well. And bringing us all together and figuring out our new identity, I think that's going to be one of the biggest parts for next season.
Coming up next, Gary Broadhead recaps North Texas and the upcoming education game versus nationally ranked Mississippi State.
Let's go boom.
This Fritos Chili Cheese Junior wrap is only 99 cents.
And that's a wrap.
Right, but the commercial's not over, right?
And that's a car.
Yep, very good.
And that's a camera.
3 for 3, good job, buddy.
That's a Fritos Chili Cheese Junior wrap while they last. Order ahead for happy hour anytime.
Welcome back to Inside Louisiana Athletics. The Louisiana Ragin Cajuns women's basketball team is off to its best start in recent memory, 6-2 to be exact, and a big matchup with nationally ranked Mississippi State on the horizon. Here now to talk about all of that is the head coach of the women's team, Gary Broadhead. Coach, let's go back to last week, the Xavier game. And we'll get to the defensive aspect of that game in just a minute. But another strong third quarter for you guys. And you had, 12 players score in that game, in a game that you won 62-49.
Yeah, I thought we did a really good job. Going into the game, they were averaging about 65 points a game, and our goal was to hold them to 50. And I think we did exactly that. Right. I think our defense was really good, and I think that our defense is what kind of gets our offense going. So, it really worked out good. And to be able to play 12 kids and them all contribute like they did was really good for us. Our numbers are up, and that's a good thing.
You mentioned the defense. That's really where the game was won on the defensive side. 20 turnovers in all. And what I find interesting is that the names and the faces in the program change as far as the players go, but one thing that remains constant is great defensive effort from your teams.
Yeah, we came in, 8 years ago with that attitude of, hey, we're going to have to defend and we're going to have to, to find ways to create scoring and stuff. And then all the kids that we recruit, we look at that hard, to see if they'll be able to match up to what the type of program we're running on the defensive side. But it's fun to see us be successful doing it, on the defensive side. I think that's what wins. It's kind of an old school cliche is wins championships, and I still believe that.
Right. So then you go to North Texas this Saturday. The Eagles have an 8-point lead at the end of the first quarter, but you come back in the second quarter to cut the lead to 1 at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, our second quarter, we decided to play a different, more of a sagging defense, and I thought it really worked out really good for us to make some stops. And then, our offense was clicking. They were pressing us. We were handling that pressure pretty good. Our turnovers were down, so it gave us some opportunities to get some scores and get back in the game. And that's what we have. We have a young club, but at the same time, they fight. They're always fighting back, and I was proud for them the whole game actually, as they fought to stay in the game.
And that's so big these days, is to have character kids who respond to adversity. You have to have that to have a winning program.
Yeah, and I think that was what we said after the game in the locker room. Is like, man, hey, we're proud of the fact that we were able to not, we got down and we could have stayed down, but we didn't. We fought back, and we, the type of character that these kids are, in every aspect they do, the way how hard they work and what they believe in and how they believe in one another, I think is huge, and I think it pays on as you get that experience for the younger kids to understand that.
Fourth quarter of that game with North Texas, the Eagles had an 11-point lead with just 5:13 to go, but you held them scoreless for 5 minutes straight, and you almost caught them. You came up a little bit short, and the final score was 69-66.
I can remember calling a timeout in the game at that point, and because we had just scored, and we decided to go back to our old defense of where we just went all out pressure and stuff. And man, it really, really, I think it confused them a little bit, and it made them uncomfortable. And our kids did a great job of creating some turnovers and was able to allow us to get back in the game. So, that's good because we did it in different ways. You can see this team is becoming more seasoned, and they're able to do more, more adjustments than normal.
Gotcha. You get a break this week because of finals, but next Monday, 11 a.m. tip-off against Mississippi State, nationally ranked Bulldogs. They were upset by West Virginia this past weekend. Big test for your team coming up.
Big time. I like playing against, Coach Schaefer does such a great job of his defense. He's totally defensive oriented, likes the pressure and all that. So I like playing against it because it's some of the top in the country, and it makes it difficult. And I want to see where we're at. Can we handle that pressure on Monday? And the 11 o'clock game's the education game, so we should have a lot of screaming kids, and Coach Vic agreed to come. He likes it. He likes the competition of it, and how tough it is on his team to play in that environment. So I think it's going to be exciting, and we're bringing a top 10 team into our arena for these young kids to see what hey, this is women's basketball. This is at a high level.
Right. It is the 6th annual education game, expecting a couple thousand students from around the Acadiana area, and I'm sure they will be loud. Only 3 more games until conference play. So, how, like you just mentioned a little bit ago, how does a game against Mississippi State really kind of prepare you for that conference run?
Well, I think the pressure. It's like it reminds me of trying to play against Troy or somebody that likes to get up and down and really get after you. We can kind of control that tempo. I'm anxious to see if we can. It's going to be difficult to do, but once you learn how to do that, and you can go back on film and show the kids, hey, we did it at this, in the third quarter or in the second quarter. We got to get more consistent at trying to control the tempo the whole game. And I think when you do that, it starts to show that improvement in us getting better.
All right, thanks a lot for the time, Coach. We'll see you next week. We'll talk about that Mississippi State game. That'll do it for this edition of Inside Louisiana Athletics. We'll see you at the games.